We are going to just start. So while others join. So yesterday, let's just recap what we did yesterday. So yesterday we wrote some DAX routines. We also looked at creating a model using our model tab on Power BI, and we also did some other things. So for today, so if you can hear me, please just type 1 on the chat box so that I can just confirm that you can hear me. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so everyone can hear me. So let me continue. So today we are going to look at some advanced DAX expressions. So around the time intelligence, we will use date add, dates month to date, and calculate. So then we are going to look at KPI indicator. We will design some screens and background for our visualization. Then we will go into, we'll do some visualization, and also I'll show you how to use smart narrative. Let's go straight to the point. Open this. Okay, we come back to our Power BI desktop. So yesterday, the last measure we created was our quarter to date expense KPI. So the next one we are going to create now is just to measure the percentage, the quarter to date variance between our budget and our actual expenses. So I'm not sure we've done budgeted expenses here. So let's quickly write a measure that calculates budget expenses, budgeted expenses. So we insert new measure. Then we call this expense budget. Let's call this expense budget full year. So this is expense budget. So this will be just a sum of our budget. So this is revenue, this is expense budget. The sum of our expense budget. So we can just change this to small x. Small x. Sum of our expense budget. So the other measure we'll create now is our quarter to date expenses. So quarter to date budget expenses. So that will be new measure. New measure. QTD budgeted expenses. So that will be equal to total quarter to date. So our expression will be our quarter to date, our expense budget full year. Full year. Then, so what are we cutting by to make it quarter? So we are cutting by calendar date, team calendar date. So here is our quarter to date expenses. So the next one now, we've gotten total expenses full year, we've gotten quarter to date expenses. So we can write a query we can write a DAX formula just to show us what is our achievement against budgets. So since we are dealing with expenses, so if we go over budget, that means if we exceed the expense budget, that means we are over budget. Then if we spend less, that means we are under budget. So for normally, if you want to derive a ratio from budget, it will be your numerator will be, for example, for sales, your numerator will be the sales value, while your denominator will be the budgeted value. But in case of expenses, your numerator will be your expense budget, while the denominator will be the actual expense, so that you can easily gauge if I'm over budget or if I'm spending under budget. So let's quickly write that measure. So we call this percentage QTD percentage quarter to date versus budget. Okay. This will be equal to, we'll call up our budgeted quarter to date budgeted expenses. So this over our actual. Our actual quarter to date expenses. So this will give us that ratio. This will give us that ratio. We can decide to make it percentage, eh? So percentage. So the other thing that we are going to do is our full year expense against budget. So we create that new measure. Percentage full year. You can write your DAX measures the way you understand. Really. Percentage full year versus budget. So this is we'll take our expense full year budget full year divided by our total expenses. We make this percentage as well. So what if you want to know like a quarter to date variance? So the variance in percentage. What is our last quarter to this quarter? What is the variance in percentage? That is another measure which we are going to write, new measure. So you will see how these measures come to life when we start visualizing. So this, we'll call this percentage QTD, quarter to date variance. So this will be equal to our variance, our budget variance. That is last quarter, this quarter minus last quarter. That is, I think we called it variance yesterday. QTD variance, that's what we called it. QTD variance. QTD variance over previous quarter, last quarter to date. Last quarter to date. So the purpose of writing all these DAX formula is that no matter when you keep picking your date range, it's dynamic. That is the whole essence. It's very dynamic. And we'll make this percentage. All these measures that we've written for quarter to date, you can follow the same process from month to date. You can follow the same process for year to date. So all you just need to do is anywhere you have quarter to date, you can either change it to month to date or year to date, and you are fine. So very nice. The next thing we are going to do now is let's just build screens. I want to just show you how to build report screens using PowerPoint. So we are still coming back to write some DAX formulas, but I think we should finish everything. We should visualize expenses today. So let's do the visualization for expenses. Then tomorrow we do the visualization for revenues, and the revenues. If we have enough time tomorrow, we also do our simulation. So So let me just show you how to design screens. So I come to PowerPoint. It's my PowerPoint document. I open, your organization might have a custom PowerPoint document. You can work with that, or you can just work with a blank PowerPoint document. So I remove this, my chart title, this goes off. So I come to my shape. So let's say I want to make my background. I think I have my background colors somewhere here. So I don't want to. So if you know about, do you know about color hex? If you know about color hex, type 1. Well, if you don't, type 2. I'm going to drop the website where you can find a hex of color codes, really. So let's see. Now I'm going to pick this box here for my shapes. On my home tab, shapes on PowerPoint, I pick this box. I put it across. Okay. So this, but I don't want a blue background. I want a darker background. So instead of wasting time trying to pick the exact dark background and start adjusting colors. So I already have predefined colors that I want to use. Yeah. So for my background, so this full screen color, this is the hex I want to use. So let me just copy this color code, come here. I right click, go to format shape, come to my fill, use gradient fill. So no, let me use solid fill for this. Come here, I go to more colors, then I just put the code in there. I click on OK. So it changes the color to what I want. So that is one step. So I've gotten my background. So now I'm going to do this to look like what we are visualizing for expense. So the other one is another rectangle. So I take it, I pick the rectangle, I put it across. So yeah, put it across. So for this rectangle, let me look for the color. So I think it's black. So copy the hex color. Go to my solid fill as well. More colors. Then just paste the hex. Just to save time. Save time, really. Let me take this out. I paste it there. So it changes to black. So I have, okay, again, I remove the shape outline. So let me say no outline. Let's take this outline out so that I won't see something just disturbing me here. So I also pick some little triangles that I want to use as my page navigators. So let me pick another triangle, draw it here. Let me place it at this point. Okay. Place it at this point. I remove the shape outline also, no outline. Right? Take the outline off. I bring so I make this color similar to my background color. Let me go and pick that background color. This is my background color. So I pick it. So I pick it, I come back here. Solid fill. More colors. I fill it up. So it's similar to my background color. So I call this, let me duplicate this into 3 places. I'm sorry. Copy this. I paste into 3 places because I want to build. Then I highlight the 3. I go to, let me see. I go to think that should be in view where I can. Okay, design. I think that should be in design. I want to try to align all these three so that they can be. Okay, this. Okay, maybe we'll come to this later. So now, let me just name the. So I call this sales and revenue. I call this expenses. While this financial simulation. Okay. So the next thing, so my sales, okay, financial simulation, seems this is too big. Let me change it from 18. Let me make this around 16 or so. Okay, so that, let me just also shift this backwards. All right. So for this, I want my first page to be my sales, while my second page, my expenses, then my third page, revenues. Right. So I pick this. This first page is for sales and revenues, so I leave it as this color. So I make these two similar to the background of my side tab here. So I go and I pick the color for that particular side tab, color hex. So I come to this expenses, make it that color. So I make it this color. Then financial simulation as well. We'll make it this color. So this is our first page. This is our sales page. So let me bring a text box. So I call this retail sales. Control A, I make it white. So text font color, make it white. So just place it here. Okay. I duplicate. Okay, one more thing. So I put a straight line, just so I can put things like headers and all of that. So I put a straight line just right here. So I make this white, so it's more. Sorry, Control Z, not shift to back. Come to my outline, I make it white. Yeah. So that it's more visible for us to see. All right. I also call this, let me bring this text box here just to put a header. Okay. Retail sales 2020. All right. So the next thing is to just design some, because I already have the idea in my head how I want the kind of charts I want to visualize with and how I want them to be arranged. So now I'm going to put some boxes inside this my design. So let me take a rectangle also. Pick, okay, my shapes, home. Pick this rectangle. Is blue. So this is what I was looking for, where I can align this. So let me select this three. Okay, sorry. can come here, I can do align. So I want this to be distributed equally. So the spaces between them, let it be equal. I can do distribute vertically. So that the spaces in between them are equal. So let me quickly design this. So this, I want to make it a bit finer. I want to put some gradients into it. So I already have my gradients. This is what I want to use. So I will go to, instead of solid fill, I'll go to gradient fill, right? Gradient fill. Then I want to fill it with this gradient, just three gradients. So I'll take one of these off. I can take one of these off. So let me say, okay, for the left gradient, I want to fill it with this color, this hex. More colors. So just watch it as it comes to life. So the middle, fill it with this. And I'll just drag this one down to the middle. I fill it with this color. Then the end, let me drag this one to the end a bit. So that is the right. Copy this hex. So there are different ways of doing this. So fill it here. So it gives me my desired color. Right? So again, I take out the outline. Then for this particular one, I duplicate it. Sorry, I duplicate this particular box. So it's also good. Just be mindful. Just be careful, yeah, as much as possible, so that you won't have different colors flying everywhere on your dashboard. Just minimize the number of colors you put on your dashboard. So let me adjust this a bit before I duplicate, because I want 3 of these to be up here. 1, 2, 3. So it fits in nicely, but they are not evenly distributed. So I just highlight the 3. I go to align. So maybe I align, let me align top, then I distribute it horizontally so that there will be equal spaces in between them. Okay. Then for this middle one, let me make it another color. Let me say, for example, I want to make it this yellow. So this gradient fill just has 2 sides to it. So let me come, okay. I take out one of these gradients. I can click on this one by the left, put the color code in there. Take this other one, copy. And I also put the color code in there. So, but as compared to this, it's not similar. What we'll do is, to make it darker, we just shift this up to this point. Yeah. Okay, still lighter. Let's layer this on top. Let's layer it on top. Let's see. So we are getting there. Let's shift this to the side and put this on top. Yeah. We are almost there. Okay. Just to give us something beautiful. I think this needs to be darker a bit. Okay, let me take this one off. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And leave it. can leave it like this. It's no issues. Then for this particular one, sorry, let me take this off. I still see that this is too bright. Let's make it a solid fill. Make it a solid fill. Let me pick the darker color. Okay, I think it's fine. Then for this, I can duplicate this as well. Let me duplicate it. Bring it down here for another chart. Another chart. I duplicate this also. Another chart right here. Okay. This is how you design your screens. So I'm just going to, because of time, I'm just going to design this one. Then, so you can work on designing the others. So I'm just going to design this. So I'm going to save this, save as. I'm going to save it as PNG. That is portable graphic PNG, portable network graphic format, so that it won't be coming up with background colors. So let me say I save this in my document. So saved just this one slide. So that is how to design screens and backgrounds on Power BI or using PowerPoint. So now this particular screen and that we've designed, we are going to import it into Power BI. Let's close this. So don't save. Yes. Let's come to Power BI. So this is our default background, yeah, on Power BI. So now what we want to do is to change this background. Let's bring the background that we've created. So we'll go to add image. Let's go to, I think I have them already on my desktop Power BI webinar and on my icons. I think so. So I have, what I want to put here now is that of sales. Okay, sales goes there. And immediately you put it, it's not visible. All you need to do is to just adjust this, adjust the transparency to 0. So it becomes visible. Okay, I didn't show you how I put this logo. I'll do that later. So it becomes visible. So this is one. Then we can call this sales and revenues. Sales and revenues. So we add, then we bring in another image for expenses. So this is expenses screen. We take the transparency to 0, so it comes up. So we call this expenses. Then the third one is our financial simulation screen. Let's bring it in. Add image. Simulation. So another thing we haven't done is that we have to fit it to the page. So here is showing as normal. We have to come and change it to fit, so it properly fits this canvas. So we call this simulation. Let's do the same thing for expenses. Let's change it from normal to fit. sales and revenue from normal to fit. Okay. So we've seen how we can design screens on PowerPoint and import it to Power BI. So the next thing we are going to do now is to start our visualization. So the ones we are going to visualize expense today. And if there is time, we'll write some other DAX formulas related to sales and revenue and then visualize.